Hey, this is Jerry Delemus and Mac Ruiz, and we're going to play Tom Macdonald's new video, Brainwashed, and give you some comments on there. Hopefully, add something to think about. We appreciate you watching us, listening to us and our narrative. And you can like and subscribe below.
All right, here we go.
The country fell asleep, but they scream woke. We're distracted by vaccines and TV shows, politics, celebrity gossip, popular neat quotes. Black lives, white lives, which lives mean most? We only dedicate one day to remember our fallen soldiers, the men and women who died young. But if you come out the closet as Caitlyn Jenner, you're a hero and you get a whole Pride Month. The most dangerous pandemic's propaganda from these clowns. Only mask that's gonna save us is duct tape on their mouths. Don't speak. We don't need to defund police, need to defund the media who lies through their teeth like Big Pharma doesn't cure you, dog, cause every patient that gets cured is a customer lost. And big oil runs the world, the only wars that get fought are with the countries who have natural resources they want. Heard him claiming if a white man braids his hair and likes rap, he's appropriating culture. But if a white man acts too white, he's white trash, he's a racist, he's a bigot, he's a monster. Let's just have the conversation. Not every liberal is dumb, not all Republicans are racist. The government wants everybody fighting with their neighbors because they know that if we get along, we'll probably go against them. They can't stop.
Isn't that about right? Isn't that about sums it up right there? Yeah, that is absolutely the truth, and our government doesn't want us to get along.
Nope.
That's why I think Obama was one of the main divisors in the office, is he divided the people so often, and didn't want us to unite. They say that I'm the president of the United States, but they don't want us united, not the people, certainly.
Nope.
And they can't push us around.
The second that the people are united, what would happen to them would make January 6th look very light.
2 million of us marched in 2009 in Washington, D.C., and it was against Obamacare and a few of the other things, and going on a lot of the taxation and things going on. And it was middle America, really, who was there. You saw them. It was and families pushing baby strollers and grandma and grandpa out there. There wasn't a lick of trash on the street. If people saw trash, it missed the trash can. They would go by and pick it up, and it was amazing to watch. And the news media wouldn't cover it at all. I ran into Dan Rather on the sidewalk, who was what was he? CBS, I think. And I said, "Hey, how come you're not covering this?" And he wouldn't even acknowledge me. Wouldn't even talk. They wouldn't acknowledge it, nothing. It was like one report, and it might have been on Fox at the time, said like tens of thousands of people went. Yeah, but it wasn't. It was over 2 million. They did it on the DC cameras. They don't want us to know when we unite with one voice. They always want to belittle us and play us down, so that we think we're alone, that we don't have a real chance to stand up and lawfully and cause things to change. Now people don't trust the vote.
Yeah, and I see that in the comments all the time. Right? It's what's good about our little community that we're developing here, Tom's very large community that he has developed, and a lot of the other outfits, is that it's spreading to people that they are not alone. So you don't have to feel isolated and quiet, that you can unite under a similar mindset and voice.
Well, the important thing is that is important to know that they're not alone, because they want to make them feel alone. But also is to practice that voice, practice it at the gas pump. Just take a chance and make a comment. It's like, these gas prices suck. What do you think? Or what do you think of the price of this, or whatever it happens to be? Just start a conversation with people, because the odds are those people are thinking a lot like you are.
Right.
If they're at the gas pump, they're getting screwed over just like you are. And interestingly enough, is a lot of things, is there's a tax associated that's relative to price. The more you pay, the more the government gets for property tax on homes. With the inflation of housing costs, they complain about well, we need to stop inflation. But I guarantee you, these towns that are going to be jacking we're collecting a lot more money on property taxes on their houses, on that they're collecting, and people haven't even sold their house. They're still living in the same house. It might have been worth $150,000 a few years ago. Now it's worth $300,000, and now their taxes are doubled.
Yep.
And
ours,
that's
because they raised our taxes on top of it. So on top of the increase in housing, our county raised the taxes too. Specifically, the school board raised naturally raised their millage rate. You can't argue with them, because if you don't have kids in the system, you don't have a say because of COVID. I don't know how that works, but it does. And so our taxes for our property taxes have gone up 100% every year for 3 years.
Wow. It's 70 to 80% of your property taxes typically, and nationwide typically, go to school tax.
85% for us. 85% is school.
And how good's the education? And or is it indoctrination? Or are they just getting, as Tom said, brainwashed?
Yep. And on that note, we're gonna move on. Continuing on.
Cause we're ready to fight, trying to brainwash us. But we won't let freedom die. The whole world's brainwashed. Everybody pick a team, start a riot in the streets. The whole world's brainwashed. It's us against them, it ain't you against me. How did monkeys become people and people turned into sheep? They put fluoride in the water that's keeping us all asleep. Claim they want what's best for us, I find it hard to believe. Cause they've been selling us cigarettes since we was 18. Fake news, fake woke, distract and divide. You're either right or you're left, or you're black or you're white. Big tech don't need a microchip to hack in your life. Cause the phone inside your pocket is a tracking device. And I don't know what I'm more sick of, rappers or Joe Biden looking like he ate 100 Xanax for dinner. Cause censoring the president and kicking him off Twitter is a bigger threat to freedom than foreign ballistics missiles. You don't trust the police or the government, but you want people giving up their right to own a firearm. Why would you be comfortable if police and the government the only people on the planet with the right to buy a gun? White privilege getting amplified to reinforce division. It convinces white people that they're favored by their skin, and black people getting angry because they're told they're treated different. So the conflict is between us and never with the system. Let's just have the conversation. Not every liberal is dumb, not all Republicans are racist. The government wants everybody fighting with their neighbors because they know that if we get along, we'll probably go against them. They can't stop us.
I was thinking when he was talking about that is they don't want you to buy a gun and such. It was just a couple of years ago. I don't know if you heard that, Mac, but I have a 91-year-old aunt in California, living up in Victorville, California, actually.
I think so. That sounds familiar.
Passed away. And my aunt was living alone. She was blind, legally blind, and a couple dogs, and hard of hearing. She's living alone. My niece lived in Hawaii, and should have actually taken my aunt home with her or moved there with her in my book. But my aunt thought she heard someone in the house, an intruder. And so she had this old single barrel shotgun. I don't know if she had any bullets for any shotgun shells for it or not. And she called 911. And so the police arrived. My grandma, my aunt, and she was always wearing her like a pajama thing, a moo type of thing, opened the door. And with a who is it? The cops saw, it was the county sheriff, Ventura County Sheriff, saw her with the shotgun. And we don't know exactly what transpired, but shot and killed her.
Jesus.
Yeah. And 91 years old. She'd never been arrested, never been in trouble. She was 5 foot tall, maybe 5 foot tall. Little old blind lady, deaf, calls the police to, because she's afraid there's an intruder because there were some break-ins and stuff in the neighborhood. It was a house that she lived in. And they shot and killed her.
That's a whole that's a whole nother thing. There you go for the system. Is regardless if there was an intruder, the cops do not have to shoot the second they see a gun. Use Iraq, Afghanistan as an example. Our troops are not allowed to shoot unless if bullets have already fired their direction.
That's right.
We give foreign enemies more leeway than U.S. citizens.
In the field of combat.
In the field of combat, where we know there's war. those citizens know that if they go out there with a gun, or at least you would think that, hey, it's war, you may get shot. Yet our troops are being told, stand down unless if you are fired upon.
And they die with following those orders.
Here, if you have a gun and you show up with one and you open the door with a gun on your hip, you will be dead if you answer the door at your house.
Good chance of it.
So that means that you can't even go to the door. If somebody, is banging on your door and it's not a cop, you still can't go there with a gun. Because you would risk, if it was a cop, that you're going to be dead.
Yeah.
That is a problem with the system. That is, I mean, there's so many problems, but that's the kind of stuff.
So, and here we are, as we're brainwashed to think, oh, well, what's that little lady doing with a shotgun? Well, she's living alone and she's afraid. And there's been break-ins. So, but the very people that are hired, their employment is to protect. Matter of fact, LAPDs on the door of their cop cars used to say to protect and serve, and but this was Ventura County Sheriff,
right?
And is the very people that are collecting a check each week or each bi-month, or in some cases are the ones that
the salaried employees. Yeah.
It's a sad, and then trying to get an answer out of them is impossible.
Yep.
Trying to come to resolution on it for most citizens is, and it's a difficult thing. And we've got our first line of protection is us, not the police, not the military, but us. That's the very first line. If somebody breaks into your house and starts beating on you, you're not going to go, well, I got to call 911. Hang on, give me a minute to get on the phone, right? The first thing you're going to do is try to defend yourself, right? And maybe shoot them or get away from them or stab them or whatever it takes, right, to get away from them. But that's where the rubber meets the road. And because law enforcement comes typically after the fact. And it's a scary thing that we allow ourselves to be brainwashed, if you will, and to believe in that we have no rights to defend ourselves, no rights to protect ourselves, no rights to travel from one place to another with the amount of cash in our pocket because we don't want to use a credit card. Or maybe some people can't use a credit card,
right?
And for whatever reason it is, and we have to get what we end up having to do is seeking permission from the government for everything we do. If you build on your property, you got to ask permission, got to get a permit, no matter what it is. You want to ride a motorcycle, get permission. Who's paying for the roads? You are.
Right.
You want to drive a car, you got to get permission. Everything you do is we've got to go to the government for permission. And matter of fact, when COVID was rampant, is you had to have permission to do anything. And matter of fact, and you were going to get denied pretty much. So Tom's right, is the brainwashing. And if the people who are watching this right now didn't see the brainwashing going on while COVID was going on the news media, didn't see that they were being brainwashed, that and made fearful when they shouldn't have been fearful, to give up their rights. That's what was being given up. It wasn't for their safety. It was to give up their rights. And and it's still going on.
Yep.
They'll find something else tomorrow.
Here we go.
Cause we're ready to fight, trying to brainwash us. But we won't let freedom die. The whole world's brainwashed. Everybody pick a team, start a riot in the streets. The whole world's brainwashed. It's us against them, it ain't you against me. Step 1, train the people only to consume. Step 2, infiltrate adults with the news. Step 3, indoctrinate the children through the schools and the music and the apps on the phones that they use. Step 4, separate the right from the left. Step 5, separate the white from the black. Step 6, separate the rich from the poor. Use religion and equality to separate them more. Step 7, fabricate a problem, made a lie. Step 8, put it on the news every night. Step 9, when people start to fight and divide, take control. This is called situational design. They can't stop us, cause we're ready to fight, trying to brainwash us. But we won't let freedom die. The whole world's brainwashed. Everybody pick a team, start a riot in the streets. The whole world's brainwashed. It's us against them.
when the Vietnam War started, there was a report that some Vietnamese gunships, which would have been small little boats, and probably without boards, attacked our fleet, and that was the reason we used to go in and start bombing Vietnam, and threw us into another undeclared war, police action they like to call them, and but it's a war. We're out there running around in the bush and geared up and running missions. It's a war.
Right.
You can call it whatever you want, but you're in a war. And what they do is they brainwash the people of America that somehow this was how we were going to stop communism. And but if we were going to stop communism, it wasn't because of Vietnam. Communism was already pretty well getting established in our own country, and but if they really wanted to pick on countries that were really pushing it, we still at that point had the Soviet Union going on and China. We weren't going to pick on them, right? And is we've just got to be careful, and that goes for conservatives as much as it does for the liberals. Is be careful that you're not brainwashed. And so we need to have discernment. And we need to not jump off on something because of emotion, but actually, if we're going to jump off on something, let's make sure that we got the facts of what it is that we're doing, and we know that those facts are true. There are ways. Our site is one. I'd say so. Tom Macdonald's given the basic general facts. What he's trying to do is get people to start thinking, and then go out and seek that information on those. He's not on those topics,
right?
And we need to do that because we're in trouble, because there's a scripture verse in the Bible that's talking about the priests really, and it says that the teachers, right, that they're on milk, they're not on solid food, and what he's talking about is the real deep truths of the scriptures, and it says that when they should be able to be teaching, that they still need to be learning. And they can't even discern good from evil, which means they don't even understand the difference between good from evil. And that scripture verse really falls into play with the American people, especially our leadership, is that we don't even know good right from wrong. We can't tell what you can't even claim to be a sex when you're going to the bathroom anymore, or you can't tell who they are or whatever. Even if you see what you know to be a woman, you can't say it's a woman because now you're a sexist, or and just the chiseling away of the basic foundational truths of life. And we're getting a good look right now of where that leads, because we're there. And it's going to get worse if in fact we don't maybe follow Tom's advice and stand up to the brainwashing, either right or left.
Yep. No matter what side it is, make sure that it's not propaganda that's chipping away at you.
Exactly right, because we get it 24/7.
Yep.
And I always try to watch both sides of an issue and listen. It's like, I'll tell you, like Marcy Kaptur, she's a Democrat in Ohio, a representative, been one for a long time. A lot of things I don't agree with her on, but I'll tell you, she was right on NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, which Trump overdid and did the new Mexico, Canada, United States trade agreement. And she was absolutely right that was a bad deal for America and bad deal for American workers.
Right.
And she's a Democrat, a liberal Democrat. And that doesn't mean that they're always wrong on the other side on everything.
Right.
And so they can be wrong on, because there were Republicans pushing NAFTA.
Yep.
And a matter of fact, interestingly enough, when NAFTA was pushed by Bill Clinton, when he was the president, and they couldn't get it pushed through until Bush took office, and it was a Democrat initiative, then George Bush signed it into law.
Yep.
And so when they say, "Oh yeah, well, we're all about this, we're all about that," well, who signed these bills? And so we've got to really just look for the truth. And sometimes the truth will hurt because somebody that we think should be on our side isn't.
Yeah.
And I'm talking the side of the American people. I'm talking on the side of freedom, on the side of right versus wrong. Those basic elemental positions of life, because there is a right and wrong. And don't let anybody tell you there isn't, because if they do, they're a liar. and flat out. And there are liars. Even Jesus called people out as liars. And so judge not, lest you be judged. Well, as long as you're not doing it, then you don't have anything to worry about.
Yep. On that note, like and subscribe, comment down below, guys. And if there is another video that you guys would like us to check out, do a review on, commentary, and all that stuff, let us know. Look forward to seeing you guys on the next one.